What's up, guys? This is part two. I'll just continue where I left off. So I talked about the term limits, I talked about the money in politics, and I talked about the military spending and getting out of wars. So the last part I want to touch on, which is probably more important, is the economic help. So we realized that the help isn't being granted to normal people like me, like us, like majority of people in our country, because of the money in politics, because of the rich having a stranglehold in the system. And we see here as well that we know that it doesn't matter because we had the CARES Act, $500 trillion was a sludge fund to the rich that T. Mnuchin wrote. They looted the treasury, the corporations, and they weren't supposed to fire people. They fired people like companies like Boeing. Um, Fewer Americans, from this Pew Research says, fewer Americans view deficit reduction as a top priority as the nation red ink increases. Our debt is growing and growing at levels that we haven't seen before, but it doesn't matter. Um, because we're such a I'm not an economist. I have some friends who probably can speak on this better, but like we wouldn't be able to pay all that money back, and if we were forced to, because we're such a big player in the geopolitical economic system in the world, we wouldn't be really we're not really concerned with paying that money back um, at in a very quick way. Over time, I'm sure that we can get to levels where maybe we start reversing that, but it's not something that's a top priority. And fewer Americans are viewing it as a top priority because of what's going on. So this is back from 2019, and you can see this graph. So under Bush, Obama, and Trump, deficit reduction has declined. So you can see back in here in 2012 at its peak, 82% of Republicans, 61% of Democrats viewed that it was a priority. Today, 54% of Republicans and only 44% of Democrats believe the deficit is a top priority. The deficit is not a priority because we realize that especially when you're in a coronavirus pandemic like this, economic downturn, if the government can use money in order to help my economic welfare, I don't really care that they put themselves in a hole or we as a country put ourselves in a hole. We're not going to need to pay that money back at any time very soon. It's not really affecting our ability to do things and trade and exchange goods with other countries. So why do we harp on that when we ask for $2,000 stimulus checks and we ask for economic support? It's not something that should be harped on. Helping the people should be the top priority of the American government. And even if they're in a deficit, they still need to do that. And this graph shows particularly why that is the reason. So, yeah. So we just have some more here. Government spending, the deficit. So you can see here, U.S. budget deficit is rising amid COVID-19, but public concern about it is falling. Economic views plummet. Support for government aid crosses party line. This is a telling graph. As coronavirus strikes the U.S., positive assessments of economy plummet. Percentage who rate national economic conditions as excellent or good. This graph shows here that it was 81, 57, 39 pre-pandemic. That's pretty much pre-pandemic, sometime 2019, January 2020-ish. Current levels as of the writing of this article, which was April 21st, right after, you can see it is 37, 23, 11. Our economy is in shambles. People realize it's in shambles, which is why people don't care about the deficit. People need help. People need help. That's what people need. People need help economically, which is why we see so many people are wanting to do some form of stimulus, some form of UBI, and some government economic help. So my last note here on the things that we agree on is just the UBI. UBI is probably the most polarizing of these five that I listed out in terms of support. So as you can see here, about 54%, this is back in, I guess, 2019, or sorry, August 19th, 2020, so about 5-6 months ago, 54% support a UBI, and 54% oppose a UBI, 45% support the proposal. So as you can see, there's a little bit of an opposement towards it. I wonder what it would be now in January 2021. But it's interesting to see that people are not fully on board for UBI just because of the economic situation that we're in. Maybe it may have to do with like American exceptionalism, or American individualism, and like I want to pull myself up. by my own bootstraps, something like that, or maybe because people just feel like they don't want to be taking handouts, which I would disagree. I feel like you pay your taxes, and during a time of economic crisis, a time of health crisis, the government should be doing their best to help their citizens directly with stimulus. UBI, I think it more along the lines of regardless of the situation, even if we're economic boom, people are still going to get $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever the number is, checks per month. So I can see why that may be the issue there. And as you can see, this again just confirming that there's a little bit of a split. This one's 48% said they would support, while 52% are opposed. So you can see it's right on the edge. It's right on the edge. It's right on the edge. But as you can see here, an overwhelming majority of people want a stimulus package check. This stimulus package is a little bit different because stimulus is in order to stimulate the economy, for lack of a better word. Get the economy back and going. If you put money directly into people's pockets, you're going to have that effect on people where it becomes a thing where, yes, you're really going to help make the economy start churning and moving back up again, even under the situation with coronavirus and still in lockdowns. If you give people money, they can still do e-commerce. They can still go to places that are safe to do and still spend their money in that ways. That support, according to this YouGov CBS poll conducted, said 86% of registered voters approved of Congress passing an additional economic relief package that would provide funds to people and businesses impacted by the coronavirus outbreak. This support cut across it, dismantled party lines. 94% of Democrats, 85% of independents, and 79% of Republicans all said they would approve a package. 79% of Republicans. 4 out of every 5 Republicans were like, yes. More than 9 out of every 10 Democrats said yes. You can't argue the situation that in a time of economic crisis, screw the debt, screw the deficit, we need help. We need to get our economy functioning in a better way, and the only way to do that is by giving us, the consumers, money to go ahead and consume and stimulate the economy. Giving it to the corporations and having it trickle down has not worked. We've known that for the past how many years? 50 years has been going on since Reagan. And it's just a situation that's not going to work no longer. More than 9 out of 10 Democrats and 3/4 of Republicans back enactment of a new stimulus package. This was from Morning Consult as of January 13th, 2021. 64% strongly support a new economic stimulus package, and nearly 7% of voters say Congress should pass another stimulus package immediately, including 81% of Democrats and 56% of Republicans. So yeah, guys, like, there's a lot. This one was on my mind for a while, and what I just wanted to just point out to you guys, in short, in these 2 videos that I've done, is I just pretty much wanted to show you guys that there's a lot more unity and camaraderie on the things that we want as a country than we think we may have. So I know there's stark contrast to, like I said in the first video, about immigration, illegal immigration, maybe one of them, abortion, maybe one of them, marijuana and how we go about legalizing drugs may also be one of them. Some other things, I'm sure. But when it comes to these situations, these ones I talked about, getting money out of politics, ending Citizens United, something we need to get rid of, because that will help on the second one, where we go and make sure that the government is helping us and not just helping the rich. The 99% or the 90% at the bottom, the majority of the company, the middle class, and the poor who make up what this country is, understand that we need to have the people who have this exorbitant amount of money, more than they can do with, need to be re-putting that into the economy to help the people who are suffering, the people who don't have as much, because you don't need all that money. You don't need $1 billion. Everyone knows that. You can't spend all that money in a lifetime, even if you try. There's really no way you can. And you don't need all that money, and people know that, which is why we need to redistribute that wealth, regardless of the party lines that you're on. Getting out of these wars and reinvesting that military budget into the things that we need, something that we also agree on. We want American government focusing on Americans and not focusing on fighting these wars and perishing people in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and Yemen and all these places, you know? And when it comes to the deficit, we know the deficit is just using an excuse to not give money to the people like us who are in need. And having a stimulus package that we've needed, we've only gotten one since this pandemic started in March 2020, It's now January 2021. We've gotten one stimulus. College kids like us have gotten nothing. And it's just a disgrace that we know that what we need to do as a country and the things that we agree on, um, and all of it, a lot of it stems from economic issues. Taking that money from the rich people, putting it back in the middle class and poor in order to elevate them to a level that makes people more equal. Um, Not that everyone will be economically equal, but having a ceiling that no one can fall below, that puts them into poverty, makes them poor, is something that we can achieve as a country if we regulate and tax people the right weights, and we make sure that the influence from these people who have so much money is capped, so they can't be giving so much money that they have influence on our politicians. And in turn, I think that we will, if we as Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, progressives combine together on some of these key issues when it comes to the military, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to stimulus and spending, um, and realize the deficit's not something that we really need to worry about if we want to get our people in comfortable positions and live the American dream. If we come together as the 99% at the bottom, despite your political leaning, and really attack Congress in making changes in our system so that the rich do not control everything that goes on, and how we spend our money, and how they can pretty much hoard their wealth, then I think as a country we'll be put in a better position, and it will increase the quality of life dramatically. Dramatically. And I really think that's a position we can get to if we realize what we do agree on, fight together on those things, and the other issues, which are usually social, more social issues, less economic issues, we can have disputes on those things as the time comes, when it's necessary to have disputes on those things. Because there's some are two sides to some of those situations, but there's a lot of one-sidedness that I think we forget, that I outlined here. So yeah, thank you guys for watching these two videos. I recorded it all as one, but I'm gonna make it two. But thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and just keep doing what you need to do in your communities to make sure that whatever you do, just do what you think is the right thing to do, and is helping people, and making life better for them and for your fellow American. That's really all that we also strive to do. Is just make life better for the people that are around us, even people we may not know. I think if we all look at it in that lens and not be so individualistic and selfish, we can see within the next 2 decades, America turn into what we always had thought growing up it would be. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video very shortly. So peace.